So, good afternoon. Today, we will be starting with a new topic, that is denture-based consideration and stress directors. Now, till now, we have completed almost all the components of the removable partial dentures, including major connectors, minor connectors, rest, direct retainers, and what is remaining is denture base. So, today we will be taking that also, denture-based consideration for removable prosthetics. In this chapter, we will discuss about the functions, ideal denture-based materials, that is their properties, classification, and we will focus more on the metal denture bases because you are well aware of the acrylic denture bases. Then briefly, we will also discuss about the stress directors. So now all of you know that one of the main difference between the removable partial denture and a fixed partial denture is that a fixed partial denture replaces only the teeth, whereas a removable partial denture replaces not only the teeth but adjacent structures also. With the loss of the teeth, what happens? Alveolar bone is also lost. The function of alveolar bone is over, so it starts resolving. Now, fixed partial denture cannot replace this alveolar bone, whereas removable partial denture also replaces the alveolar bone. And the denture-based material provides that replaceability. In natural dentition, what happens? Whatever the occlusal forces are acting on the natural teeth are transferred to the alveolar bone through the periodontal ligament. Now, the same function in the removable partial denture is performed by the denture base. So, all the occlusal forces acting on the artificial teeth, they are received first by the denture base. And then the denture base transfers those forces to the underlying tissues. Now, these transfer of forces is very critical for the distal extension denture base, because any movement during this transfer will lead to the problem with comfort and the stability. Now, the functions of the denture base. Now, one of the primary functions of the denture base is it supports the artificial teeth. Artificial teeth, they are ultimately attached to the denture base. So whenever the artificial teeth is under any functional force, that is the vertically directed force due to the occlusion during mastication, they are first received by the denture base. Then these denture bases transfer the functional forces to the supporting oral structures. If it is a tooth-supported partial denture, then those forces are mainly transferred to the abutment tooth. If it is a tooth and tissue-supported partial denture, that is a distal extension partial denture, then those forces, they are mainly transferred to the underlying soft and the hard tissues. Now, whenever these functional forces are transferred to the supporting tissues, that is the alveolar bone, residual alveolar bone, and if those forces are within the physiological limit, then these forces will simulate and maintain the form of the residual ridge. All of you know, with the loss of the teeth, alveolar bone undergoes resorption. Now, giving a partial denture may reduce the speed of this alveolar bone resorption. Now, accuracy of the adaptation of the denture base to the underlying tissue is also responsible for the retention. Now, this is the primary source of retention for a complete denture. Complete denture, factors affecting retention, mostly they are physical factors related to adhesion, cohesion, interfacial surface tension. But in removable partial denture, primary retention is obtained through the direct retainer. One of the component partial denture, direct retainer. But if there is a accurately adapted denture base to the tissues, then that denture base will also help in retention. It is a secondary tension. Factors will be same: adhesion, cohesion, interfacial surface tension, all those factors. Now, this denture base replaces the alveolar bone. So in a way, it helps in aesthetics also. Particularly in the anterior region, what happens if the tooth is lost and along with the tooth, there is a tremendous alveolar bone resorption. Particularly if the tooth is lost either due to the periodontal disease or patient is not replacing the tooth for a longer duration of the time. And if there is too much alveolar resorption in the anterior region, and if you give a fixed partial denture, then it will not look aesthetically good. So in case of a missing anterior teeth with increased alveolar bone resorption, then the treatment of choice is removable partial denture. And you can further enhance the aesthetics of the removable partial denture by using various characterization methods. You can further characterize the denture base to simulate the natural tissues. Now we will see the ideal denture base properties. So first important property which every denture base should have is the accuracy of the adaptation to the underlying tissues. Now this accuracy is important because then only it will be able to perform its function. Now we have already seen the functions of a denture base. Important functions of denture base are related to the transfer of the functional forces and the retention. So these functions can be performed only when denture base is perfectly adapted to the tissues without any volumetric changes. Second is the denture base material should be dense. What will happen if it is porous? If it is porous, it will absorb the oral fluids. There are more chances of calculus. So therefore, the denture base ideally should be very dense. Dense also helps in retaining the finish. So greater the denser the material, more finish it will be able to retain for a longer duration of the time. And this finish is important for keeping the denture-based material clean. Ideally, denture-based material should be a good thermal conductor. Thermal conductor means it should be easily able to pass the heat to the underlying tissues. In this way, it will stimulate the underlying tissues as well as it will have a better acceptance by the patient. Next is denture-based material should be light in weight. So it should have a low specific gravity. That is, weight per unit volume should be less. Also, the denture-based material should have good strength because then there are chances that denture might fall. So ideally, your denture should not break on accidental fall. So the sufficient resistance to fracture should be there. Then your denture base should be easily kept clean. If it is a well-polished surface, if it is retaining that polishability, then it can be easily cleaned. It should not accumulate the plaque. Then should have good aesthetics. Denture-based material, as we know, it replaces the adjacent structures of the teeth. So it should also help to enhance the aesthetics, particularly if you are replacing the anterior teeth. Another important requirement for a good denture-based material is relining. You should be able to perform the relining. And when the relining is required? Relining is required because with the passage of the time, the alveolar bone undergoes resorption. Now, this alveolar bone resorption, you cannot completely eliminate it. This is a natural process. Obviously, you can reduce the speed of the resorption, but you cannot eliminate the alveolar bone resorption. Suppose in a patient, if the alveolar bone is resorbing at a greater speed, then what will happen? Your denture will remain in a good condition, but its adaptation will be lost. And with the loss of the adaptation, what will happen? The functional force will not be properly transmitted. Retention, stability, and support will also be lost. So in such a case, instead of replacing the entire prosthesis, what you can do is you can add a new material only on the tissue surface of the denture. So that is the relining. So relining means adding a new material only on the tissue surface of the denture. Rest, everything remains the same. So your denture-based materials should be such that you can do the relining anytime. And last requirement is related to the financial condition, finance. So ideally your denture-based material should be of a low cost, both in terms of the material as well as the instrument required for the manipulation. Now, if you see these ideal requirements, none of the denture-based material available today fulfill all the requirements. Each of the denture-based material available has one or more shortcomings. Now, these denture-based material can be classified under two main groups. Either they are resin-based or they are made up of metal. Resin-based denture base, we have already studied in detail in denture material classes as well as in complete denture classes. So we will focus more on the metal denture bases. So first we will see the advantages of metal denture base. One of the most important advantage of metal denture base is its accuracy, especially in comparison to the resin-based denture-based material. Now, one of the problem with resin is when you do the polymerization of resin, it undergoes shrinkage. Shrinkage means its volume is reduced. So when its volume is reduced, you are obviously leading it to the problem with the accuracy. And this process for denture-based resin is known as polymerization shrinkage. Now the metal denture bases, they are obtained through a process known as casting. Now after casting, metal also undergoes the shrinkage. That is known as casting shrinkage. But there are methods available where you can compensate the casting shrinkage. There are not good available methods to compensate the polymerization shrinkage, but there are methods available which can accurately compensate the casting shrinkage. So the metal denture base which you get after casting is perfectly adapted to the tissues. And that intimacy of the contact between the denture base and underlying tissues enhances the retention of the denture. Also, it leads to the better force transmission. So, stability and support, they are also increased. So, metal denture base offers advantage in terms of retention, stability, and support. Now, retention with metal denture base is highly accurate. So much accurate that you can completely eliminate the posterior palatal seal area. All of you know the importance of posterior palatal seal area. They are important for retention. So whenever you are fabricating a complete denture, you have to very meticulously record the PPS area. If you don't record the PPS area properly, you will hamper the retention of the prosthesis. But if you are giving a metal denture base, then even if you don't record the posterior parietal seal area, if you keep the denture base area short of the soft palate, then also you will get enough retention. So such is the accuracy of the metal denture bases. Now this is particularly helpful in cases like, for example, oral submucous fibrosis. In oral submucous fibrosis, pathology, all of you know, right? What happens? It is difficult or almost impossible to perform the border molding. So if you have got a patient of a OSMF, then you can give a metal denture base without performing the border molding and recording the posterior parietal seal area. The denture base in that case will be so much accurate that you will get the enough retention. Second is permanence of form. Once you have achieved the form, once you have given the form to a metal, it will retain its form without change in the mouth. This is made possible because metal is not subjected to any internal strain, which may lead to the distortion. Whereas the acrylic denture base, they are subjected to the internal strains. Also, the metal denture bases, they are quite resistant to abrasion, to the abrasive foods or the opposing teeth. So they are very resistant to abrasion. So once you have given a form to a metal, it will not easily change its form. So the denture can be retained, can be used for a longer duration of the time. Then next advantage of metal denture base, it's related to its biocompatibility. Now, if you compare the acrylic denture base and the metal denture base, then acrylic denture bases, they are more porous as compared to the metal denture bases. Metal denture bases, they are quite dense. So what happens? Acrylic denture bases can easily absorb water and oral fluids by a process known as water striction. Also, if the patient is not maintaining a hygiene, then plaque accumulation, even the calculus accumulation can easily occur on a acrylic denture basis. But it will not easily occur on the metal denture basis because they are very dense. There is no scope for any attachment. Also, the polish of the metal is better as compared to the acrylic. Metal has a property of good luster, and once you have given it a polish, it will retain that polish because it is not easily abraded. So it will not easily accumulate the plaque and calculus, which is one of the possibility with the acrylic denture bases. Also, metal, because it has got a free ions, it has got some bacteriostatic property, which is absent in case of the acrylic denture bases. So all this thing makes a metal denture base more biocompatible as compared to the acrylic. So better harmony with the living tissues in cases of metal denture bases. Next advantages of metal bases is metals, they are good thermal conductor. So good thermal conductor means it can easily pass the heat from one end to the another end. In this way, because the denture bases covers a lot of oral tissues. Because of this thermal conductivity, underlying tissues, they are properly simulated. And this will increase the patient acceptance of the denture. Next is weight and bulk. The advantage with the metal denture base is that metal can be cast in a very thin sections. Acrylic requires certain bulk to get the strength, but metal can be casted in a relatively thinner sections. So for a per unit volume of the metal, strength will be more than the acrylic. So in this way, weight will also be reduced without hampering the strength and the rigidity. So these are the advantages of the metal denture bases. Now metal denture bases for complete denture, you can also use it for the complete denture, because one of the indication we have seen is case of a OSMF cases where there is no need of doing the water moving. Another might be related to its strength. Some patient, they complain of regular denture fracture, and most of the time maxillary denture fractures through the midline. Reason might be too much buccally placed teeth, or the prominent mid-titan raphe, or the deep labial femur. In these cases, what happens? There is a midline fracture of the denture. So in such case, you can give a metal denture base that will increase the strength. But metal again has got some disadvantages. Most of the disadvantage related to aesthetics. It is difficult to attach the acrylic teeth to the metal. But one of the important disadvantage of metal is you cannot do the relining of the metal. So if there is a bone resorption, then you have to completely change the prosthesis. You cannot reline the metal denture base. That is one of the most important disadvantage with the metal. Therefore, what happens? In case of removable partial denture, for distal extension cases, we prefer acrylic denture bases, and for tooth supported cases, we prefer metal denture bases. Because tooth supported partial denture, there are less chances of alveolar bone resorption. Tooth and tissue supported or distal extension partial dentures, there are more chances of alveolar bone resorption. So there you cannot take any chance. So preferably for distal extension denture bases, use acrylic denture base, and tooth supported denture base, use metal denture base. Now, so this is an example. Another problem. This was about the problem of bone resorption. Another problem with the distal. Another problem with the distal extension denture base is difference in the consistency of the distal extension and the tooth or the periodontal ligament. So what happens under occlusal load? The tissues over the bone, over the distal extension, they are compressed more than the periodontal ligament. And this variation in compressibility can be almost a difference of 10 times or 20 times. So if you apply same amount of force on the soft tissue and the abutment tooth, soft tissue will be compressed more as compared to the periodontal ligament. So when it is compressed more, what happens? This denture base will move down, but the rest placed over the rest sheet will not move to the same distance. So what will happen? The abutment tooth will be subjected to the rotational forces, or the rotational torque, or the tilting torque. So under occlusal load, there are chances that abutment tooth will be subjected to the rotational or the tilting forces, especially in the case of a distal extension removable partial denture. In case of tooth supported partial denture, it has got a tooth support or the abutment support on both the side, that is mesial side and the distal side. So most of the occlusal load will be transferred to the periodontal ligament, not through the soft tissues. So in this case, periodontal ligament means the forces will be transferred along the long axis. So there are no chances of tilting in case of tooth supported. But in case of distal extension partial denture, it can be subjected to the tilting. So this is the way the tilting occurs. So because of the under the occlusal force, this denture base will move down, and if you have particularly this tilting will occur more if you have placed the rest on the distal side, that is towards the missing tooth side. Then this is that in this direction abutment tooth might tilt, and you will lose this tooth which you don't want. Now, how to overcome this tilting? And there are various ways. One of the ways we have seen in case of direct retainage. Another thing is by using a stress director. So a stress director is something like this. So denture base moves independent of the direct retainage. So there is a joint between the denture base and the direct retainage. So this is the stress director. Because of this joint, the denture base moves separately. So denture base can move down without affecting the abutment tooth. So we will see the stress director. So definition of stress director: a device or a system that relieves specific dental structures of part or all of the occlusal forces and redirects those forces to the other load-bearing structures or regions. So stress director, they are basically a device. And what is the function of that device? That device provides relief to some structures. Relief from what? Relief from the harmful forces. And that relief from the harmful forces is either the part of the forces or the complete forces. Either it will provide complete relief or the partial relief from the forces, certain structures. And how does it provide relief? By transferring these forces to the other structures which are capable of taking up the load. So remember the definition. Stress director is one of the device that provides relief to some structures. That relief is from the harmful forces. That relief is either complete relief or partial relief, that is part or all. And how does it provide relief? By redirecting those forces to those regions of the oral cavity which are capable of taking the load. So what does this stress director do? It relieves the abutment tooth. So it provides relief to the abutment tooth and transfers those forces to the underlying bone. So that is the function of stress director. Now, stress director, they are also known as stress breaker or stress equalizer. Why stress breaker? Because it doesn't allow the transfer of forces from the artificial teeth to the abutment tooth. So that's why it is known as stress breaker. So occlusal forces from the artificial teeth will not be transferred to the abutment tooth. Stress equalizer means because it helps to distribute the stress between the abutment tooth and the alveolar bone. So it distributes, it doesn't allow all the forces to be transferred to only one structure. So in this way, it tries to equalize the stresses on the abutment tooth as well as the alveolar bone. Stress director means it redirects the forces to the alveolar bone. So these are the different names for the same device. Now, stress director, they are broadly grouped into two types. RPD having a movable joint between the direct retainer and the denture base, and the partial dentures having a flexible connection between the direct retainer and the denture base. A movable joint between the denture base and the direct retainer. In another case, the connection between the denture base and the direct retainer is a flexible one. So first type of stress director, that is stress director with the movable joint. An illustration is given here. So this is the denture base. All of you, please mute yourself. So this is the illustration of a type 1 type of stress director. So this is the denture base and this is the direct retainer. Between the denture base and the direct retainer, there is a movable joint. So denture base moves independent of the direct retainer. So whenever the occlusal forces are acting on the artificial teeth, denture base moves down without affecting the direct retainer and ultimately the abutment tooth. In this way, abutment tooth is saved. So all the forces acting on the artificial teeth is ultimately transferred to the underlying bone, because in this case, the denture base is acting almost independent of the direct. It will move down without affecting the direct retainer. So these are the examples of commercially available type 1 type of stress director. So this joint can be either in the form of a hinge joint or ball and socket joints, or can be in the form of sleeves and the cylinders. And these are the commercial hinge joint. These are different types of the hinge joints which are commercially available. Next is next type of stress director is when the connection between the denture base and the direct retainer is flexible one. And there are subtypes into it. And the first subtype is split bar major connector. So in this case, what happens? Major connector is split into two parts, the lower part and the upper part. Lower part is attached to the denture base and the upper part is attached to the direct retainer and the rest. All of you know that the major connector should be rigid, but because of this splitting of the major connector, some flexibility is given to the major connector. So it is not entirely rigid. It is slightly flexible, particularly the lower segment, okay, which is attached to the denture base. So whenever the occlusal forces are acting on the artificial teeth, then what happens? The forces travels through this, through the lower part of the major connector first, and then it goes to the upper part of the major connector, and then it ultimately goes to the rest. So what happens? The force has to travel a long distance before reaching the abutment tooth. Also, during its path, there is a flexible component. So because of this long path, and the path is made up of flexible component, a lot of force is dissipated. So not all the occlusal forces, they are transferred to the abutment tooth. a lot of force is dissipated along the path because of the increased length of the path and the flexibility of the path. If there is a direct connection, then what happens? The force is directly transferred to the abutment tooth. But in this case, you have splitted the major connector. Now, second subgroup in the type 2 type of stress director is again a flexible connection, but this flexibility is given with the help of a wrought wire. So instead of splitting the major connector, what you have done is you have connected the major connector with the help of a wrought wire. So wrought wire is flexible as compared to the cast. All of you, we have discussed the difference between the cast and the wrought. So cast, as all of you know, cast metal is a metal which is obtained by a process known as casting, and wrought is obtained through the mechanical means, like the wires. So the wrought metals, they are more flexible than the cast metal. So the connection between the denture base and the direct retainer is through a wrought wire. And because the wrought wire is more flexible, all the forces will not be transferred to the abutment tooth. A lot of forces will be dissipated. And third subgroup in the type 2 type of stress director is a flexible connection between the direct retainer and denture base is by the help of a special type of direct retainer, that is clasp having a stress breaking like effect. This classification we have already seen in the direct retainer. So one way of classifying the direct retainer is the direct retainers which have a stress breaking like effect, and another type of direct retainer which doesn't have a stress breaking like effect. So examples of the clasp which have a stress breaking like effect: RPI clasp, RPA clasp, reverse Akers clasp, and the wrought wire clasp, or the combination clasp. And this illustration we have also seen. So in this case, what happens? Your guiding plane, proximal plate, is at rest position is contacting only 1 mm. So whenever the occlusal forces are acting on the artificial teeth, what happens? The proximal plate completely disengages the abutment tooth, and all the forces, they are transferred to the alveolar bone. So therefore these clasps, they are known as having a stress breaking like effect. Why stress breaking? Because they break the path of the transfer of stress from artificial tooth to the abutment tooth. If this proximal plate is continuously in contact with the abutment tooth, then the force will be transferred to the abutment tooth. But because this proximal plate under occlusal force is not contacting the abutment tooth, so it is not transferring the stresses to the abutment tooth. Therefore, it is known as having a stress breaking like effect. So these are the different types of the stress director. Now we will see the indication of the stress director. So a stress director, first and the important indication is it can be used only for distal extension partial dentures, not for tooth supported partial dentures. Strictly only for distal extension partial denture, and that too in certain special conditions. What are those special conditions? Conditions where patient has got a good alveolar bone, but abutment tooth is periodontally compromised, or you are planning to give an internal attachment or a precision attachment. Now, precision attachment we have already seen in the last class. Precision attachment, they are made up of the components which are very precisely made. They doesn't allow the horizontal forces. They doesn't allow any horizontal movement. So what happens? These internal attachment, since it doesn't allow the horizontal movement, so a stress director should be used so that horizontal stresses are not transferred to the abutment teeth. So strictly when it satisfied these conditions, then only use the stress breaker. If you use the stress breaker in case of a poor ridge, then you will further damage the ridge. So it should be used only in cases where patient has got a good ridge. Now, advantages of the stress director is it distributes the stresses between the abutment teeth and the residual ridge. So otherwise what will happen? The stresses will be transferred directly to the abutment tooth. And that stresses will be mostly in the form of a tilting stress, which are very harmful for the abutment tooth. So stress director, what does it do? It distributes the stresses. So in this, by distributing their stresses, it preserves the alveolar bone of the abutment tooth by transferring the horizontal forces to the alveolar bone. And when it transfers the forces to the alveolar bone, if that forces is within the physiological limit, then it can cause the stimulation of the underlying bone and it will prevent the bone resorption. It will not allow the bone resorption. Yes, but provided it should be within the physiological limit. And suppose what happens if patient needs relining, and if the relining is not done, then what happens? Then more stresses are transferred to the abutment tooth because denture base will move more down because of the alveolar bone resorption. Now, if you have given a stress director and you don't do the relining, then also stresses will not be transferred to the abutment tooth. So if there is a delay in relining, mainly on part of the patient, then abutment tooth will not be damaged. But it has got some disadvantages also. And this disadvantages is mostly because you are adding one more device in the partial denture. Now, the fabrication of the partial denture itself is a complicated process because it requires so many steps. And you are further adding one more step. Next thing is they are made up of movable parts. So what happens? They can be easily distorted. And once it is distorted, what will happen? It is almost impossible to repair. You have to again refabricate the prosthesis. Also, it reduces the effectiveness of the indirect retainer. Almost there is no need of giving the indirect retainer. And because it is made up of the movable parts, there are chances that it can trap the food. So patients, most of the patients, they are not easily tolerating these devices. And since what happens, the stress director, what does the stress director do? It breaks the transfer of stresses to the abutment tooth and transfers all the stresses to the alveolar bone. So it is not transferring stresses to the tooth, but it is transferring stresses to the abutment. It is not transferring stresses to the tooth, but transferring stresses to the alveolar bone. So there are chances that that stress to the alveolar bone might exceed the physiological tolerance of that bone. In that case, what will happen? There will be a rapid resorption of the alveolar bone. And if the relining is not done, then further resorption of the residual ridge will occur. And because of the added device and the complicated fabrication procedure, this stress director, they are quite expensive as compared to the conventional removable partial denture. So therefore, stress director, they have to be used very judiciously and carefully, because what is happening is, by breaking the transfer of stress to the abutment tooth, it is transferring all the stresses to the alveolar bone, and that way it is affecting the stability and the support of the bone. So you are taking care of only one thing, that is, you are minimizing the stress on the abutment tooth, but in the process, you are affecting the support and stability, and which might be detrimental to the alveolar bone. So as far as possible, use this stress director very judiciously, and most of the time, the conventional partial denture is sufficient. So this was about the denture-based material and the stress director. So meanwhile, you can go and read and find out the answer of these questions. How does the denture base affects the masticatory functions? Next is, how does the denture base contribute to the aesthetics and ideal requirements of the denture based materials, and advantages, indications, contraindication of metal denture bases. You can read these books, and if you have still any doubt, you can contact me. So thank you. We will stop here.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, all the best.